Hey everyone, Ian King here, editor at Smart Profits Daily. And in this webinar, Bitcoin hits 50,000. I want to talk about why the world's largest cryptocurrency has moved above this psychological number. And I'm also going to go over some previous cycles to show you where I think we are in the cycle and where Bitcoin could move from here. So with that, let's talk about the news. Bitcoin is above $50,000 for the first time. The cryptocurrency was invented just 10 years ago in 2010. It has had an incredible move, going from less than a penny to over $50,000 of Bitcoin. And the news this week that sent it higher was really threefold. One, you heard that Tesla, headed by, of course, Elon Musk, added $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin to their cash holdings. Now, that's about 9% of Tesla's cash holdings are now in Bitcoin. It's going to allow them to accept cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin, as a payment for people who are buying new Tesla cars. Number two is that MasterCard is going to allow some of its merchants to accept cryptocurrency as payment. And what's really interesting about this is that the merchant will say, we'll accept Bitcoin, but when the merchant actually receives the transaction, they will get the currency they want. So maybe that's dollars or euros or Japanese yen. They won't have to receive the Bitcoin. It's going to allow people to spend something and the merchant to receive something different. And that is huge because it makes Bitcoin more fungible with other currencies, other fiat currencies. And lastly, the big piece of news was that Bank of New York Mellon, which was founded by Alexander Hamilton 250 years ago in New York, said that they're going to have a custodial unit to accept and hold cryptocurrencies on behalf of clients. Now, this is a big deal because Bank of New York Mellon isn't one of these new fintech startups. They are an old school, white glove firm that has mega clients and mega pension funds. And what they said was that they're seeing demand among their clients, and that's why they want to be able to hold cryptocurrencies for these clients, especially Bitcoin. And these three pieces of news, the Tesla buy, the MasterCard news, and Bank of New York Mellon accepting cryptocurrency, or at least holding it for their clients, is what sent the world's largest cryptocurrency above $50,000. So let's take a look at the chart of Bitcoin and go over some previous cycles to where this new rally could possibly take us. So right here, you have a chart of Bitcoin versus the US dollar. It's on the Coinbase exchange, which I'm sure many of you are familiar at. And you can see it's had an incredible move just in the last couple months. We broke out to a new all-time high above 20,000 in mid-December. So in the last 2 months, we have more than doubles. We've gone up 2.5x, and it hasn't been a straight line. As you can see, there's been plenty of pullbacks. In fact, there were 3 pullbacks of 20% or more just in the last 2 months. And a lot of people ask me what a bull market looks like. Well, the definition of a bull market is that something goes low and starts lower and goes up, right? The old Wall Street definition of bull and bear markets, a bull fights with his horns where it comes in low and charges up, whereas the bear starts higher and goes lower. And that's why they call them bull and bear markets. Well, this bull market in cryptocurrencies is more like professional bull riding, okay? It doesn't just go up in a gradual move like you would think a bull market would go. It just goes, it whips around and goes down and then comes back up. And like, if you look at this chart, just in the last 2 months, you can see these significant drops. Here's a drop where the price of Bitcoin went from 41,000 down to 30,000. So that's about a 25% drop. And then you had another one from 39,000 in over a week to 28,000. And then just in a couple of days, you saw a big spike higher. So there were 3 moves within this of 20% or more, 3 moves lower of 20% or more. And that is pretty significant. But when we're talking about the cycle now and where is Bitcoin in the cycle, we want to rewind a little bit and look where this cryptocurrency has been in the past, and it'll help guide us to where we could possibly be going. Now, the first thing, when you're looking at a chart like this, especially something that's going up exponentially like Bitcoin is, you don't want to use a regular chart. You actually want to use a log chart. So if I switch it to a log chart, you'll see that the y-axis on this side is showing you percent moves. Okay, so the distance between, let's say, 10,000 and 20,000 is the same distance between 20,000 and 40,000, right? If you invested $100 at 20,000 and it went to 40,000, you doubled. And it would be the same thing as you invested 10,000 to 20,000. So don't think of these as numerical range. Think of them as more percents, and it gives you a better look at what this cryptocurrency can do versus what it's done in the past. So if I do a log chart and then I rewind, this takes us all the way back to 2015. And you can see that last cycle had very similar moves where in 2017, you had big moves up and then you had shakeouts, big move up, shakeout, and it kept trading along this 20-day moving average until Bitcoin finally hit 20,000. Now, the key here is that this rally that we saw in 2017 lasted a little over a year. Okay, so it started in late 2016 and carried to December 2017. It took the price of Bitcoin from $1,000 a coin to 20,000, which was 20x, okay? And in that time, in that 1 year, there were 7 pullbacks of 20% or more. Okay, we've already had 3 in this cycle. The last time we had 7. So there are enormous shakeouts that happen during this cycle. And we had very similar reasons for why people were buying Bitcoin back then. There was talk that there was going to be a Bitcoin ETF. There was more ways for you to go and buy it with Coinbase coming out. And people were just more excited about Bitcoin in 2017 than they had ever been in the past. And that's why it went up 20x. Now, if you think about these cycles, so the bull market in Bitcoin ended in 2017, December 2017. Now, if I draw a line to where we are today, it takes us 3 years to go through this bear market. So during this time, the price never got above 20,000. So technically, the bull market really just started now or 2 months ago. We're 2 months into this bull market. So there's a lot of room for this to run. We could see 100,000, 200,000, 250,000 before this is done. And you can see just by looking at the log chart, it wouldn't take that much effort. It's done it before. It's done this 20x move before. Now, where does 20x take us? Above 20,000. A 20x move, if we did this in 1 year, would put the price of Bitcoin at 400,000. And with the price at 50,000 now, that's about an 8x return from here throughout the rest of the year. Now, I don't know. I'm not saying this is impossible. This could be possible. I know that Guggenheim, which is one of the largest hedge funds and venture capital and private equity funds in the world, Scott Minerd, their chief investment officer, put a $400,000 price target on Bitcoin. So maybe he's looking at the last cycle and comparing it to then. It's quite possible that we see 400,000 in this cycle as well. But the one thing that I'm certain of, I'm not certain that we're going to go to 400,000. One thing I'm certain of is that the path there is going to be filled with lots of ups and downs. So if you own Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, make sure you position size yourself accordingly. You don't want to buy too much of position size that if you lose 20 or 30%, you feel like you have to sell it. And just be in a position where you can buy these pullbacks. If Bitcoin pulls back 20 or 30% in a short period of time, just be there and keep adding to the cryptocurrency because it worked during the last cycle. Every time it sold off, if you had bought it and then were able to eventually sell towards or close to the peak in late 2017, you did really well for yourself. So that's it for this week's Smart Profits Daily. Would love to hear from you in the comment section. If you own Bitcoin, if you've got any potential price targets, and perhaps why you think the world's largest cryptocurrency is going higher or even lower from here, please comment below. And if you like this video, of course, smash that like button for us. It helps us get our message to more viewers. I'm Ian King, and thanks for joining us this week.